Hi, welcome back to WPOB, Ep.7 of our podcast. I'm your host, Melo15. My current co-host, J.O., is in California right now, so I want to give a special shout-out to him. And tonight, who am I sitting with right now?
Right now, we sitting with Rick, man. Special podcast, number seven. Just a little one, just to discuss a couple topics.
Yeah,
just
a couple, maybe like 8,
just a little bit.
Yeah.
Feels good to be here, man.
Yeah, hell yeah, man.
Comfortable setting.
Yeah, like I said, guys, in the beginning of the episode, Justin's in California right now, so, let's wish him some good luck on this trip. All right, I'm glad I got you here right now because, we got some shit to talk about.
We do.
It's
Nerdfest today.
We're going to start off with some Endgame talk, so.
Oh, man, wow, the topic's hot. So, first part, I have to ask.
Do you have to ask?
Did you really care about Natasha dying?
Black Widow, bro? Okay, yeah, spoiler. I know you already said it, so.
It was going to happen.
Yeah,
It's been a while. It's been a whiile.
The Russo brothers said that the spoiler ban lifted last Monday, I think, so we're good.
Yeah, I mean.
Damn, if you. Let's be honest, right? I'm just going to be completely honest. In that scene, in that moment, I thought Hawkeye was dying.
I did too.
Because she has a movie coming out, right? So I didn't think that Hawkeye would be the one that lived.
No, that makes sense. But Hawkeye, I feel like he lost too much. So it was just like he was the blatant choice because nobody expected them both to be there. Ooh. I was really looking at somebody else to go get that Soul Stone. But when they got there, it was like, oh, okay. Somebody got to go.
Well, the way that Scarlett Johansson played that part made it like, all right, cool. This is like, it was kind of emotional for me because we had seen her come from like the beginning of this saga to then.
The build up.
Yeah, so the actress played a good, but Black Widow herself, when she was like, this is my moment, this is what this is my, yes. I don't believe that. I don't believe her goal was to kill herself for the Soul Stone.
And I will take that because the buildup was there, but it was slight. The first time you saw her actually get emotional was a little bit, I'd say, in Winter Soldier to Cap, when they had like that camaraderie in the car. But my second time I feel like it's the biggest was with Hulk.
Yeah, so you mentioned this to me before, right? Mm-hmm. And I didn't think about this until you mentioned it to me. Her and Hulk, they kind of teased them being a thing, like a relationship, right? You would agree?
They did.
Yeah, so...
Easy.
You mentioned to me that you didn't think that like his reaction to her death was appropriate for the fact that they actually teased them being a couple like 3 or 4 times.
And I don't.
And I didn't think of that until you said it. Yeah.
And I don't. But I will say, when you balance him to like hero to like person, it worked, but it felt like there was no pull for that emotional side. Like we've been seeing Hulk in a lot of snippets, and we saw his growth, and his growth has been great. I'm not gonna lie, I hated it when the Russo brothers said that they're not gonna give us a solo Hulk movie for a while. But as it continued, I was like, you know what? This is a character you can really build up in little increments because he doesn't like people anyway.
Well, you know why you know why he can't have his own solo movie, right?
Why?
Because Universal owns the rights to a solo movie.
No, see, it's things like that.
So they put him in a team-up movie because he can be in a team-up movie. He just can't have his own solo movie because Marvel and Universal haven't worked out the proper.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
So
I'll take that.
When obviously in the movie when he finds out Black Widow died, it was just like he's by the sea. He's Professor Hulk. He's like, yeah, and Natasha died. It's like okay,
but. And even Hawkeye got over it quick, so I'll leave that up to the fact that it was the end game.
Yeah.
Just like it puts in there, and she actually did fight for that. But I'll accept that, because you know what? Thinking about it, it wasn't horrible. I just felt like they could have did more.
Well, if you think about it, too, it's like, with all that going on.
Yeah, it's a lot to care about one person. That's selfish.
Yeah, it sucks to say that, but it's like, hey... We have like the biggest threat not even the Earth, the universe has ever seen.
You showed up with a pistol.
Like I love
way more
you,
than we expected.
Remember in the trailer when she was shooting the gun? Yeah. They was probably like, yeah, okay, put the gun away.
I'm like, okay, well, somebody's getting shot.
Yeah, somebody.
But she did more than I expected.
Like when they bust into his house in the beginning, and Thanos just sitting there like being a farmer. Get on the fool! Like
I feel bad for him, especially with the half-burned face.
Oh
he felt like me face.
And he was just like,
but he needed it. Then you seen Thor, and it was like, I love it again. He needed this.
So me and you have brought this up before, but it's like, hey, when they had the whole like Thor being fat, alcoholic, depressed, and I know, for instance, I know a lot of people didn't like that. Okay, I did in a way, but in a sense, it's like, hey, you know, when people said he takes the hammer at the end, he could have transformed himself into skinny again. It's like, oh yeah, well, I'm skinny again. I personally kind of like that they kept him fat because it's like, hey, it's realistic.
He felt like he looked more like Odin than ever. That's what I love.
When he had the braids.
As soon as he got it, he looked like Fat Odin, and it worked for me. I was like, well, this is grown Thor.
And his friend in the house, like, you feel free to use the Wi-Fi. It's like, that was funny, dude.
Honestly, his Fall from Grace was great. I actually liked his acting in it. I liked Scarlett Johansson's acting in it. And thinking about it, like, I liked him being fat. It truly showed to the end of the degree. The dude had nothing.
Nothing,
He
man.
went from, like, kingdom on another planet to living, like...
He's on Earth drinking beer and shit.
You know what I'm saying? Barely Wi-Fi, nothing else. Horses.
So for me personally, you know, I actually like that Thor and Tony got to have closure with their parents. Like on a personal level, that was like, you know, that's super cool, bro. Like,
I didn't think about that, but I love that they put time in that. Even for Thor.
Even because, like, I know Thor was like, hey, I didn't get to see my mom that last time before she died.
Yeah.
I didn't get to have that final, like, and I that's cool, man. I really like that part.
I didn't expect, of course, Tony, but I really loved Cap. I feel like he deserved that. He was here forever, just like, I'm for everybody, and he went for himself. For one time, he chose to be selfish. I really enjoyed that.
I agree with that, man. If you think about it, they left little Easter eggs to all the movies that's the ending he got, was he always wanted that last dance with Peggy.
Yeah, Ultron showed that. But, oh, man. Yeah, honestly, I feel like him and Tony, they had equally as much, because Tony literally became his own father. And I think that's, like, crazy. Only in the sense of he gave his dad advice. So does that mean, like, every bad thing that happened to you from your parent was kind of like a little bit your fault?
Yeah.
It's your fault.
Actually, a cool part that I wanted to mention, too, is, you know, when Loki takes the Tesseract and, like, he goes into that.
Yeah, which is weird.
You know, at first, it didn't hit me, and I'm like, okay, why did they do that? But then, you know, you hear about him getting his own TV show. You hear about Scarlet Witch getting her own TV show. And I think that's how they're going to do it. I think he created an alternate timeline, and I think he's getting his own TV show based off that. So
that's good, because at first I felt like that was something that was missing. But if they put that in the movie, other than the show, I actually think I would watch that, like, at least the pilot, to make sure. Just to see, like, you know, where the direction is going. He
could still end up in the regular universe.
True. You know how it is. That time dimensional it's a little too hard to follow. So, I mean, I can pleasantly wait for that one, I can say.
Like, people theorize that he's actually going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
I think so. That is off.
Because Thor's in it.
James Gunn is back.
Mm-hmm. I can imagine Adam... So, I don't know if you watch Game of Thrones. Do you watch Game of Thrones?
I don't.
So, the character Robb Stark, in real life, the actor, he kind of looks like Adam Warlock.
Okay.
So, I can see them making... Because they were rumored that, like, they're going to try to get him to play Adam Warlock. I never thought about that until I watched Game of Thrones. When I watched Game of Thrones, I'm like, perfect. That's a perfect fucking casting, dude.
I need to watch Game of Thrones. God, I'm slipping on that one. I hear it's a great show.
You're not slipping for real, but honestly, like, you know, going forward with those TV shows, like, you know, Loki, Wanda, and all that.
Black Widows.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to Loki's. I can honestly say that they can do a lot with that.
What do you think the graphics are going to be like, though, on a TV show compared to a multi-million-dollar movie? Is that something that scares you? Like, hey...
Honestly, it never does. But I can honestly say I'm probably a little biased. Because So, like, I kind of grew up in a house where people will watch anything from the newest Marvel movie to Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah.
Right? So it's kind of like we're really waiting for it just to see everybody likes it. So I can appreciate when the story's great. When the story's great, they make you care. I can see where the budget can lack, because Netflix did not have the best budget.
Not at all.
But, man, as far as story-wise, there was at least... I don't know anybody who doesn't like at least one of those shows.
Yeah, so the reason I have faith in it is because, obviously, you know, I'm a big fan of Star Wars, and The Mandalorian, which is going to be on Disney+, it got a $100 million budget for season 1. You know for damn sure the quality's about to be good.
Oh, it's going to be amazing. But what... So it's going to be on Disney+.
Yeah, so the Loki show, Wanda and Vision. What's another show that's going to be on that? There's Wanda Vision. Oh, yeah, it's
right?
Bucky and Falcon are getting on the show, too.
Right, that one is looking good.
So, yeah, you know, if Disney's putting in good money for, like, The Mandalorian, you already know they're going to put in good money for those shows.
Yeah, actually, and when you think about it, then the graphics, they can be on par, but I never feel like when it comes to a show, they should be first. Like, there's probably no show I can think of where the graphics were just like amazing. You know, there was always like a point where we're like, okay, like I can accept this. It's on the show. It's not my big screen, but I can accept this.
Yeah.
And, you know, same thing for these movies out here. I personally don't feel like the graphics have to be the best, but I feel like they should be pretty top dollar.
Because we're already so used to seeing these guys in the movies and, like, you know, the graphics are amazing. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping that, I mean, that is important to me. I don't know if it's important to other people, but having good quality and good graphics with characters we already know and are already established in the MCU means something.
Would
like,
you put it over a story, though?
No, I wouldn't. But, like, okay, let's say, for instance, have you seen the new Watchmen trailer? If you haven't, we're actually going to watch it right now. So
I have not. I've seen it once, but it was not at a time I really needed to see it.
So we're actually going to watch it, and we're going to critique, because we've already seen the movie.
Right.
We've already read the graphic novel.
Great.
We've already talked about Watchmen in the past.
It's amazing.
So now, basically, what we're going to do is we're going to watch this trailer together, and we're going to see if HBO, which, by the way, HBO is the one, you know.
Right.
We're going to see.
That's a good thing.
We're going to see if the graphics is an important part to them, so.
We are no one. We are everyone. And we are invisible.
I'm Rorschach.
We convinced ourselves that they were gone, but they were just hibernating.
Okay, this is definitely
heroes,
feels post. This feels post Watchmen movie.
They came for everybody. Oh, please.
Are we safe?
I guess we have ourselves a reckoning.
Have ourselves a goddamn Watchmen.
How dare they give us one Adrian scene? How dare they give us one Adrian scene? They're teasing like virgins on prom night.
Just the end of the world.
They're teasing so hard.
Hey, man, I'm not going to lie. So we just talked about graphics, right?
Right.
Being important for a TV show. This doesn't lack it. That looked like good-ass graphics to me.
Right.
They got Rorschach's look right.
They did. But that looked like a group. That looked like a group of Rorschachs. And I'm going to be honest.
Definitely.
Maybe I'm crazy here. But I didn't see really... Now...
I don't have any indication whether this is... if they're retelling the movie into a TV series, which I don't want them to do.
Yeah.
You can't stretch one graphic novel into like seasons of shows. You could, but then you're diluting the the content.
Right. Which people eventually is going to start to say, like, it's just too dry. It's just too long. And we didn't see Dr. Manhattan one time in that entire video. So,
okay.
And then they showed Adrian one time in that.
Do you think they'll do like one episode's a Rorschach episode, one episode's a Dr. Manhattan episode?
I feel like they're going to show like probably the first few episodes will be about like the pace of the world and the pace of what them superheroes did. Because the ending of it was like more than most other movies, and like maybe I'm crazy, but more than most other movies, Watchmen really showed that the public opinion matters. Like, if you don't want you here saving us, like, what are you here for?
Yeah,
you know what I'm
like,
saying? If we're going to throw bottles and stuff and all that at you, what are you here for? You know?
They didn't show Dr. Manhattan, so I'm gonna hold off on the graphics.
That's why it feels post, but that's why, then again, you know, you wonder about fight scenes and stuff
I could
that.
definitely see them fucking up Dr. Manhattan's look. I'm being honest, like, I can see that. Mm-hmm. I can definitely see that.
They're just going for something different.
Well, like, I mentioned Game of Thrones to you, right, which is another HBO series.
Right.
There's characters in the show called the Night Walkers, or the White Walker, sorry. And the Night King is like a blue, icy guy.
Okay.
And, obviously, like, they don't have to go that route, but it's like, yeah, you could have made Dr. Manhattan after that, and it's like, that won't look bad.
It won't.
So,
and that's what I feel like it's a good thing too. When you look at graphics from just independent shows, it shows you whether they put their budget in the right thing, especially if that story lacks. Because that's when, honestly, if you don't at least put a whole bunch of great graphics in this, I refuse. I refuse on a good show.
So, I don't know if this is an origin. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but do you expect, like, what do you expect really out of this? Like, if this is like, if they're like straight up retelling the story of Watchmen.
I'm not for it.
I'm not for it either.
I'm not for it.
But if it is like, okay, this is an origin, right? So they kind of, in the movie, they tell the origin of the Watchmen because the original Watchmen weren't the ones that were in the movie.
True.
It was like their
so you
parents.
Think this is pre? You think this is pre?
It could. It could, because what if this is what started Rorschach, or what if he got the inspiration from this group? So
that could be too.
I actually hope they retell it. Like, I know people are like, "But this isn't what the comic says," but it's like, yeah, but come on, man. You know, let's just do something different this time.
Right. I would honestly like it if they went post movie. The movie they just released some comics.
That'd be cool.
They threw Dr. Manhattan and the Comedian, and it's a spoiler. They threw all of them in the DC universe for like 2018, 2019 comics. That's really exciting. That's really exciting.
Can you imagine Superman and Dr. Manhattan? Yeah, dude.
You see what I'm saying? Man, it's too much good potential.
I think a lot of people are going to expect. This is what I think. Okay, so people are going to voice, "Hey, I don't want this to be like the movie." Okay,
right.
But let's say they don't make it like the movie. Then a lot of people are going to be like, "But you didn't follow the graphic novel." It's like.
That's what they have to commit. I feel like if they don't commit at least to one thing, whatever they're selling us, I'm not going to be for it. Because you can have a show with good origins. You can have a movie with good origins. I mean, you've debated about this before. You've brought
plenty
it before.
of times, actually.
Yeah, like how we both feel about Spider-Man. We both feel like it's a good origins. You like it. I kind of don't like it. So either way, but I can still respect where they're going with it. So I think that's always the most important thing. So we'll have to see what they're trying to do. I think we'll know in the first couple episodes.
Well, obviously we know that HBO is making it, but you know, you showed me the other day actually, which is actually pretty cool because I don't know if the viewers at home know about this, but there's a DC app. You explain to everybody at home what that is, because if they don't know, like, you know, then maybe you could inform them what the, you know.
So, as far as like, because I don't think I've told you all the way about this either.
No, you showed me, but you didn't tell me all about it.
So far, this DC app is really new. And I mean really new. We're only talking about maybe 6 months out. The best thing about it, I would say, is that they give you movies. They give you comic books, and I'm talking about thousands of comic books. The movies, you're probably getting around 20. And you get about 20 shows that all rotate as far as your film.
Yeah.
But the animated movies, and on top of everything else that you get the entire package for about $72 after tax. And I feel like that's great, man. Just as far as if you're just a comic book lover. Now, true, they don't have any other things. And you told me before that Disney app, which is also what I'm wondering about, the new Disney app that's coming out.
Disney Plus?
Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of looking because Disney's, it's honestly just a more versatile brand than DC. And I can respect that. I can take that.
Well, the Disney Plus app is like, you know, for people at home that don't know, Disney just bought Fox.
Right.
So not only does Disney have Hulu.
Okay.
They have the Disney Plus app that's coming out this year.
They own Hulu?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they bought majority of Fox. I think the only thing Disney doesn't own is the sports division.
Okay.
So Disney Plus will be coming out this year. It'll be featuring The Mandalorian, the Cassian Andor show from Star Wars, the Loki TV show. You'll be able to watch every Disney movie ever. As far as I'm hearing, you'll be able to get any Disney movie.
Exciting.
If a Disney movie comes out on DVD, let's say tomorrow, it'll come straight to the app too.
Right.
You will get all the Star Wars movies will be on there. Clone Wars, Rebels, yeah. And for $6.99 a month, obviously it's gonna go up after the first year, but that's how they're catching you.
Yeah.
You know, all these guys have kids. Mm-hmm. So I feel like Disney Plus is aimed towards families. Right. There's going to be comic book stuff on there, but like the DC app is like it's
one-dimensional. Yeah. If this was Warner Brothers, I'd feel more strongly about it.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, in the sense of just how many people they could pull in, it's easily the Disney app. Hearing that now, I did not know that information. Yeah, it's...
okay. And all 30 plus seasons of The Simpsons will be on the Disney Plus app.
Oh, man. Yeah, man, you're pulling in numbers just because at that point. Like, it doesn't even matter.
It's not even fair anymore, dude.
Nah, bro. Nerd culture ain't that hard.
Yeah.
Not yet. But...
Because Disney Plus isn't just going to get the nerds that watch Star Wars and, like, you know, Marvel. It's going to be, like, kids.
Yeah, and that's where your money is.
Like, for instance, my brother, he's going to California right now. He's taking my niece to Disneyland.
Never been.
That alone.
But it doesn't matter. Right, because I'm already jealous. It doesn't matter.
I know he's a fan of a lot of the stuff we're talking about, right?
Right.
But let's say he's not. Let's say, for instance, my brother's not a fan of that. Mm-hmm. He's going to get it because of his daughter.
Right.
So not only is Disney going to get people who subscribe just because they want to watch the new Mandalorian or the Loki TV show, they might get people who don't even watch that shit. But like, hey, my daughter does, so I'll pay the $6.99 a month just for my daughter to watch Disney.
And you sit somewhere for enough hours, you're gonna start paying attention to it.
That's a body, dude.
It's
like
over.
that's a.
It's over. So, I guess with that being said, kind of to like, I guess double it back a little bit into like the movies.
Yeah.
So I have to ask you because we've debated this for a while now.
Plenty of times.
Right. And it's kind of a different question, but how important do you feel graphics are to like an origin movie? Like what do you really? Then again, not even graphics. What do you really expect from your remakes in your origin movies? Like, do you want them to be like comic book, or do you want them just to be more so capture that like in the prime, like the most known?
Well, okay, so let's say it's an origin, right?
Right.
Let's say for Disney Plus, let's say for instance the Bucky and Falcon's an origin.
Right.
Okay, I don't want the graphics to be like top-notch Marvel MCU.
Okay.
You don't have to with the Bucky movie. You don't have to make top-notch graphics because Bucky and Falcon are just like, they're not super powered, really.
True.
I know Bucky has like the metal arm.
At most, they should just have good choreography. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
should be
so
well-paced.
I think for like Disney Plus shows, they have Disney backing them.
True.
So they're gonna have okay graphics. They're gonna have good graphics. It doesn't matter to me, as long as the one that I'm kind of worried about is the Wanda and Vision one.
Yeah.
They have powers. Like they look different. So you're gonna have to put a little more money into that show. But like other than that, like the Loki show too. Like it just depends on what you're doing.
That's true. That's true. I guess it does depend on the direction, but
You're not gonna get an actor like Tom Hiddleston. He agreed to do the show. So you're not gonna get an actor like Tom Hiddleston and
I never thought that was going to work, honestly.
getting an actor like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the thing is, back in the day, you never got people who were excited to do TV shows. You never could get a big time actor to do a TV show. You know what I mean?
Right. And see, and that
The
kind of
game's
goes
changing
in,
now.
Right. And that kind of goes into what I'm saying. Like, even these big actors are starting to notice that the money is in these comic book. The money is in these Disney shows.
The
and
apps.
even
The streaming
the
apps,
apps, right? Another thing. So I feel like who really says like what these origin movies should represent? It's like even like the new Joker movie. It's gonna not, it's not Jared Leto. It's a totally different thing. But like
That doesn't have to have good graphics though.
right, no, not even the graphics,
Yeah.
but like what do people like want from it? Because I feel like a lot of times when we already hear the name, it just makes it so we prejudge. Because like Iron Man, I can honestly say I didn't know a thing about Iron Man until Robert Downey Jr. got into the suit.
Okay, so you know more about this than me. Obviously, you know the Netflix show Punisher and Daredevil.
Right.
You watched them, right?
Right, absolutely.
Were they origins?
They were.
Okay, so obviously Netflix doesn't have them anymore. We'll talk about that in a second. But what did you think? How do you rank those origins? Like, if you were to say, hey,
Personally, I feel like they all got good ratings from people. I feel like the only one that was downplayed a little bit was Punisher. I feel like because people know the name Punisher so much, they expected like this mindless soldier kill. They expected the Winter Soldier.
oh yeah,
It's like probably the first film. So like I think his like score and like reviews and like how many people like was watching him, it was like in the 60th percentile compared to everybody else. Which I feel like that's a great movie. I feel like all their origins have been great. The only one I'd probably be like, I'm not too fond of was Iron Fist. But that's just because their choreography. For me, that was execution.
yeah, it still looked.
Yeah, it wasn't the story. It was execution.
Yeah.
I mean, come on now. No.
Speaking of Netflix, I actually feel extremely bad about this, but with the emergence of Disney Plus, with the emergence of them getting Hulu, we just spoke before this podcast about Crunchyroll losing DBZ and all this other stuff to Funimation. I think Netflix, it sucks. Like, okay, so Netflix had a chance, right? They were told, hey, Disney's gonna buy you out.
Right.
You do a deal with Disney, and Disney will keep their stuff on your app. But, obviously you're going to have to give Disney a cut, right? Mm-hmm. Now, as a company, did they make a bad business decision? Because now that you see all these other apps coming up, Netflix only really has stuff like Friends, other networks' biggest hits.
That's true.
Netflix doesn't really...
Classic movies.
Yeah. Okay, so Netflix has like 13 Reasons Why. They have they have originals,
right?
Okay?
Like Big Mouth, but the originals are still coming out. And see, that's the thing. The originals are like, as far as being big, like... I want to say like maybe a couple of movies were really big before Bright, which was hated, like everybody hated.
Yeah.
So I do feel like Netflix, they take risks. So I don't think they'll die out like say as quick as Hulu.
Did they spend $100 million on Friends? They did. To renew it one more year, they spent $100 million.
I guess it's a good thing nobody knows where their demographic is. Nobody knows where their money is.
They don't put it out like that.
And that's the best thing for them.
Well, I feel like Disney, I think in the long run, that's a bad business move that they didn't do a deal with Disney. They just lost Punisher. They lost Daredevil. Disney's pulling the Clone Wars off Netflix. They're pulling Rebels off Netflix. I don't think Rebels was on Netflix, but, Disney's pulling all that stuff off because it's like, yeah, we have our own app now.
Man, and if they
were stuck, though, bro. It's like, hey, you don't put it on Netflix? Cool. You don't want to make a deal with us? Cool. We'll make our own streaming app and we'll take over the industry.
Which is crazy, too, because all these apps, all the things that Disney owns, period, like, you got to think about it. Like you said, that's like, it's a large chunk of their kid section.
They're one of the biggest monopolies in the game.
Oh, my God, with their kid section? Oh, man, they might be on a slippery, they're on a slippery slope.
I told you, not only does Disney Plus have the parents who want to watch their Star Wars and comics, you have people who don't even care about that shit, but their kids want to watch it.
Bro, Dora the
That's
Explorer,
crazy, dude.
SpongeBob, it's over. Well, then again, SpongeBob's Nickelodeon. But actually, then again, it probably is art. But even still, all those movies, Frozen 2's coming out? No, I would have probably held off for a year.
For the longest time, Netflix was like, that was it. That was the shit. It was them and Hulu. Hulu and them would go back and forth like, hey, we have the better shows, but we have the better movies, but we have this,
And they were so linear. So now they're both on slippery slopes. And I can honestly say, even with Crunchyroll, like, the biggest thing Netflix has, and this is my biggest positive for them, I feel like could hold them out, they take the biggest risk on anime movies.
Netflix does, definitely.
Yeah, they take the biggest risk on anime movies, and that's like that's like a level of not really nerd culture, but like as far as like comics and, what I'm saying, in a different realm, it hasn't been touched on yet. Like, there's money in that. The only money that's really been touched was Dragon Ball
Super.
The Broly movie. Yeah.
Well, I think I heard a rumor that if you get Disney Plus,
right,
you'll get a package deal. Well, they'll lower your, like, let's say you get Disney Plus at this. I forgot what. I'm just take this with a grain of salt because obviously, like, I read it and I heard it, but it'll come with the package deal. So let's say you get Disney Plus, right? Then you'll get a lower price on Hulu and ESPN app. So instead of paying like $9 a month for Hulu, you get Disney Plus or you get the package deal. It'll end up being like $6 for each or $5 for each. Yeah, because they're all together now.
Man, Disney right now, they're looking good. They're looking really on top.
Yeah. So, speaking of that too, it's like, hey, I know me and you've talked about this in the past, but with the movies. Going back to the movies, I know a lot of people. Listen, man, I have the tattoos, bro, and it's not, and I'm not trying to brag. It's just like, hey, I'm a fan of DC. I've always been a fan of DC. I grew up watching the Batman show in the '90s.
Batman movies,
the movies, the Tim Burton movies. The Tim Burton movies are crazy. I survived the Batman and Robin with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I still need you. Like,
that was my staple movie. Don't judge me.
Bat nipples, dog.
Oh my God, bro.
I don't know. Like, we survived
that. It didn't withstand time at all.
And I love the Christian Bale Batman movies. I love the Henry Cavill Man of Steel. It just sucks. It hurts me as a DC fan. I don't know how to explain this. It hurts me to see Marvel doing so good. Because I'm like, you guys, okay, I told you guys this before, but Batman and Superman are the two biggest properties in the world.
I would argue that a little bit.
Like, if you say top three, it's Superman, Batman, Spider-Man.
And that's all I was going to say. But Wonder Woman has been close for years, which I didn't even know.
Yeah.
I didn't know. But she had, I think, a couple of shows and, a movie, but the movie tanked. Her movie, and I mean tanked.
Big time, dude.
We're talking back then. You're tanked. Yeah, you were only in a couple of theaters at the start of it anyway. Social media ain't around.
So it's like, okay, out of the big three, you guys have two.
Right.
Now, let's say if you were made the president of DC, right? Mm-hmm. And they say, hey, Andrew, you're the president of DC. My plan, right? Obviously, the whole world knows Superman and Batman.
Right.
So if we're going to build the DCEU, I want to start off with Batman and Superman. They did. They had Man of Steel.
Right.
Wasn't that the first movie in the DCEU?
Yes.
Perfect.
Amazing.
I love that movie.
Amazing.
And I know a lot of people didn't because, Superman snapped the neck. Like,
it's action porn.
Bro,
there's too much fighting. It took too long.
Bro, I did not want to see Superman save a fucking cat out of a tree.
Bro, that was 2.5 hours, that movie. We had to sit through that, but God.
Can you imagine Superman I'm going to help an old lady across the street? No one wants to see that, dude. Okay?
Superman Returns has been done, and it was done when it was in theaters.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Like,
nobody wanted it.
So then cool. And then I was so excited when they casted Ben Affleck as Batman because I'm a big fan of the Dark Knight Returns graphic novel. where
Right.
Batman's older. He's like big and brooding. He's not skinny, or I don't know. Batman's never been skinny,
No,
but
but I know what you mean. He's thicker.
Yeah.
He's on like the later years of his
he's
prime.
like chunky.
Right.
Pause, but yeah, you know what I mean. It's like, and I was super excited because Ben Affleck is an Oscar-winning director, actor, and writer.
Right.
So it's like,
Facts.
okay, DC, you're proving it to me right now. You got an Oscar-winning director, writer, and actor.
Facts.
You know, and everybody guessed he's gonna direct his own Batman movie, and he was gonna direct one. He was writing it. He was, you know, he had sent I don't know if you saw this, but did you ever see he sent out test footage for what's his name?
Him in the suit?
Deathstroke.
Yes, I did. That looked amazing.
That looked amazing. It's like, okay, cool. Like, DC doesn't have a Kevin Feige. And Kevin Feige, I don't know if you know who he is, but the fans at home, he's the president of Marvel.
Right.
He oversees all those movies.
Right.
They don't go through it. They go through him. And I think that DC needs like someone like Kevin Smith to be Kevin Feige.
That's a good choice, and I feel like you cheated with that name.
Yeah, Kevin Smith would be a perfect, because it's like, hey, I know the lore, I know what the fans want, and I respect.
I've directed great movies,
and I have so much respect for the characters that it's like, hey, we know how to make a good Batman movie.
Right.
We know how to make a good, like, it just sucks seeing, because like Marvel went 22 plus movies.
Right.
They changed actors in the beginning a couple times. Yeah, you know, Terrence Howard was War Machine, but that was the beginning of the saga.
They written out Edward Norton's Hulk, which I feel like was just unnecessary, saying it didn't exist.
Well, there was a lot of problems with that one. I think I've told you this before, but
Right.
Edward Norton was kind of a dick to Marvel. And
They could have just still added in the movie product, because I don't feel like one person should have ruined that whole product. You know, it still should have been counted. But no, I would agree. Marvel's
I think it did count because General Ross was in later Avenger movies.
Right. Yeah,
So-
and it did.
Yeah.
It did. Civil War.
So it just sucks because it's like, hey, I see Marvel doing so great.
Mm-hmm.
You know, regardless of what people think about Marvel, it's like, hey, they're treating these actors have nothing bad to say about them.
That's true.
They always get treated good. You know, Marvel has a way of like, hey, we're gonna bring Robert Downey Jr. in, who has a bad past.
He does.
And we turned it around, and now Robert Downey Jr. is making like 50 mil a movie.
Right.
And people love Robert Downey Jr.
They do.
So it's like, I had so much faith going into the DCU. It's like, hey, we got Ben Affleck, we got Henry Cavill. To me, I'm sorry, but I'll never see another Superman. He's Superman, dude. To me, that's my Superman. If you put another person in that cape,
Facts.
I'm not watching it, dude.
I don't.
I'm not fucking watching it. I
You
might,
gotta
but
give
it's
me.
like,
You gotta give me like 10 years. You gotta be old.
hey, all the old heads say that about Christopher Reeves.
Yeah, but
No, he's my Superman.
that's been over. I'm sorry, y'all. Look, it's been over. He was charming. He wasn't hardcore. We needed a Superman for this age that
Superman
showed
that could
us a
walk.
little facts.
So that was.
But either way, we
Yeah.
got us one who was still walking the walk, and he was talking. That whole Man of Steel, how they took his most hardest villain and threw him in the beginning.
Zod was a perfect one for that movie.
Right, but people hated Mike Shannon. I feel like, now see, just my opinion now for the DCU and MCU, I feel like MCU has almost all their movies are great, right? Now, the one thing I would say that they lacked was just probably in the beginning.
Like the solo movies.
Right, and that's the thing. I would say right now Marvel has a better job of giving you a movie that's well-rounded. But DC, I feel like, makes the better origin movies.
I agree. They have better solo movies.
Right.
Yeah.
They know how to make you care a little more. Because I can honestly say, I went into Shazam. I mean, everybody's seen Wonder Woman. But I went into Shazam not knowing much and not caring. Like, not caring about this guy. Like, he's cool. He's going to be cheesy. It's going to be a kid's show. Like, all right.
And you liked it, right?
It's going to be soft. It was better than I thought. And for a movie, and I will state this right now, that movie is not perfect. I give it an 8 out of 10. But they made you care. They felt genuine. The entire time, he grew up. He can't be the same person next movie. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, definitely. That's character arc right there. Yeah.
Not in any sense now, without giving, because obviously I know you haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. So I mean, you could spoil the movie for me. I don't really care.
But it's more in the sense that I would say the best part came from at the beginning. They show you his origins with his mom, and then he mentions it every now and again, kind of like how Spider-Man did with Tony.
Yeah.
And then as soon as the ending happened, you realize that, no, she left you. And blood really does not make you family. Like, that was the deepest thing. She didn't recognize her son after 10 years.
I would rank Wonder Woman and Man of Steel with like the top Marvel solos.
Right.
Winter Soldier, Civil War.
Right. I just feel like Suicide Squad and Batman vs Superman gave people a really bad taste in their mouth.
Especially me, man.
And I'm sorry.
I'm a big fan of The Dark Knight Returns. One of my favorite graphic novels, and they adapted that novel. They did in the movie. You could tell the robot Batman suit.
Right.
The Batman versus Superman. Like, a lot of that movie came from that graphic novel.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I knew they weren't going to be able to copy it beat for beat. I knew that. But it's like, you know, the beginning was a little jumpy for me. It's like, hey, we're in Africa. And you told me this before. Watch the director's cut.
Yes.
Because they explain why Superman's in Iraq
they
or
gave
wherever
you
the fuck
almost
he was
45 minutes of actual to piece everything
in the theater,
together.
though, it's like, oh, we're in Gotham. Oh, we're in Iraq. Oh, we're in Africa. Oh, we're here. It's like, okay, what's going on? Like, slow down, dude.
Batman's in Metropolis. We got this long opening scene with Batman falling. It's like, we know you got bats, dude.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so...
And I'm also going to say the main part I didn't like in there was Batman running into the city with no suit on like he was really going to save his friend from a falling building.
That was ridiculous.
I did not need to see Ben Affleck.
And he didn't even sweat either. It looked like his hair didn't even move. It's like, I'm going through all this debris.
That was the worst jog I've ever seen, my friend.
It was like a brooding jog, you know?
He was here. Like, he had no form.
No sweaty pits, nothing, bro.
But I feel like we got to give DC some time, man. Right now, have they been sucking? Absolutely.
I just don't like it's like, okay, so you know what the Justice League movie?
Right.
Okay, I don't think it's bad. I give it a 7 out of 10. Reason being, they went through 2 directors in that movie.
Right.
They kind of greased Zack Snyder because his daughter died during the filming of that movie, but they were already planning to fire him.
Right.
So they were like, oh, yeah, how about instead of saying we fired him, we just say that you're taking time for your daughter. No matter how you spin that story, that's fucked up to me.
No.
They were already planning on...
Total grease.
And then they get Joss Whedon to do it.
Which is a totally different director type. Yeah. I feel like that was a cop-out.
You can tell. Throughout the movie, you could tell who directed what.
You could tell in Flash.
You can definitely tell who directed what, yeah, exactly.
In Flash, you can tell in the few missing scenes, you can tell are there. And that's why I'm with you. Justice League, it's like...
2 different tones.
Just right under 8 out of 10. Like, it's almost there. I just would have expected a little more... towards the end. They could have did a little more with Steppenwolf, though. Even comic book wise, I'll tell anybody right now, even comic book wise, that dude sucked. He had one job, be Darkseid second. So I appreciated it, but I can feel that, like, if you don't know him, no, he's totally uninteresting.
Because now it's like, hey, Marvel's leading up to Thanos. We know you're leading up to Darkseid.
Right.
And it's like, you're not giving us a clear motive as to why Darkseid even wants to show up here.
Right, unless you already know who he is.
We know why Thanos wants to come to Earth. He wants the stones.
Right.
But you already defeated him when he came to get the Tesseract.
But we didn't know that at first.
We didn't.
At first, we just seen him as kind of like the boss to Loki, or maybe Loki's help, and then you kind of see him in Ronin. And then once you start learning what the few gems are, like that there's more than one, that's when it became apparent. And I will say, and I've talked to you about this before, I agree. I'm very hopeful because Wonder Woman and Shazam and Aquaman, but they only got a couple more movies before I'm just like, all right, y'all got to really start pumping these out.
So I don't know if this frustrates you, but it's like, hey, we're 5 movies in. Let's reboot. Let's do the Flashpoint. Let's reboot. It's like, I love the Flashpoint, the series. That arc is amazing.
Right.
And it's like, you guys are using it 5 movies in? You should have waited for like 15 movies in, and then it's like, oh, Flashpoint.
But can it work, though, because of what Flashpoint is?
No, Flashpoint can work, okay?
But I feel it. It's a cop-out to you.
But now that they're losing Ben Affleck, and now that they might lose Henry Cavill, it's like, oh, well, Flashpoint can solve that. It's like, come on, guys. You don't have to use Flashpoint this early in the DCEU.
I know I'm biased, but, man, I'll accept it.
Because they're not gonna get rid of Gal Gadot. Or Gal Gadot, whatever.
No, not at all.
They're not going to get Jason Momoa as perfect as Aquaman.
They're not getting rid of Henry Cavill. He already said he's committed to the role. He just has other projects, which lets me know that if he's taking other projects before Superman...
Then that means they don't give a fuck about Superman.
Or they're not ready for him yet. So even he just knows that, like, okay, they don't have a solid idea yet.
So me and you have talked about this before. Okay, I'm not trying to shit on the Birds of Prey because I want to. Okay, because that seems like a cool concept.
Right.
And I'm a DC fan, so it's like, cool. Like, that seems funny. Like, Ian McGregor's about to play Right. So it's like, hey, how about instead of Man of Steel 2? Because I can imagine them sitting at, like, a table at Warner Brothers. A bunch of executives who don't know shit about this.
Right.
And it's like, hey, I can guarantee you some guy raised his hand, like an intern. You guys should make Man of Steel 2. and you have like Brainiac or Lex Luthor or Bizarro. And he's like, no, we're gonna make Birds of Prey because Margot Robbie wants Birds of Prey. It's like, bro, nobody wants that fucking movie. I've told you this before,
but they will.
They will, but it's
and you know what it was, bro?
Yeah.
It was Margaret. Margaret was the one thing from Suicide Squad that everybody loved. Because if you remember the beginning, and I've said this to you before, everybody just felt like, oh no, Will Smith. Jared Leto, okay, maybe I'm not convinced, but Will Smith is this dude is that, Killer Croc. People weren't too happy about the cast. And then they realized that it was the writing. The cast was good. And I told you before, like the writing, the one thing even from a comic book standpoint, why were you guys buddies so early?
Yeah, I wanted Killer Croc to be like more like a Croc.
Right, but even
Will
still,
Smith,
like,
and then they all worked out.
Right, but Margot Robbie was the one thing they knew for certain. And I feel like that's going to get women. Like you got the one, like I would say the strong women who like idolize Wonder Woman, kind of more so traditional, and you got the crazy bitches.
Well, so you know how they're rebooting Suicide Squad 2?
Right.
Well, it's gonna be Suicide Squad 2, but it's gonna be a reboot
Yeah,
because Will Smith's not coming back as Deadshot.
he said he is. I actually checked. That was a rumor.
Oh.
He said he was. They said they're going to make sure Idris Elba isn't Deadshot.
Oh, okay.
Just to make sure that they're not replacing the character because of Bad Boys 3.
So that was my problem with the DCU.
I was
like,
mad too.
You guys have all these top tier actors.
I was mad.
It's like, oh, let's reboot this. Let's reboot that. Like, you don't think we noticed that?
Yeah, they probably don't think. They probably think it's early in the game. They can do it, and that's probably trying to take from Marvel's handbook. But no, we were one movie in.
Where Jared Leto was gonna get his own Joker movie, but that got canceled. So it's like I don't see a plan. Like it's like, hey, we have 20 movies, or 15, or even 10.
Right.
And it's like, hey, this is what we lead up to. We're gonna lead up to Darkseid. And we're going to give the fans Ben Affleck, and we're going to give them all this stuff. But no, instead it's like, hey, yeah, we kind of grease Ben Affleck, the Oscar-winning writer-director Ben Affleck.
Right.
I would call him that every meeting. What do you want, Mr. Oscar-winning writer-director Ben Affleck? He'd be like, oh, you don't have to call me that. No, I'm going to, because you're literally an Oscar-winning writer-director Ben Affleck. It's like, hey, how about instead of you directing your movie, we're going to get this guy who directed Planet of the Apes.
And that's kind of what I'm cool with, because I feel like even with the internet, you don't think he was like stressed?
He probably was.
Like you said, Batman's a big three. If you ruin Batman,
he said he wanted it to be more like the I'm forgetting the name now, the Christian Bale Batmans. He said he wanted it to be like that. He wanted it to be
realistic?
Dark. Yeah, not realistic. He could kinda, but like
cool.
Like he wanted it to be like that, like dark in the city, like
right.
Like some real like
and that's
dark
why Deathstroke
shit,
was
like,
the perfect guy for that. Their first fight is blood, and even still, like that character it's Deadpool unhinged. You know?
Yeah, I agree. It sucks because, you talk about this a lot. We're big fans,
right. But that's why I would say like half of it looks good. I would say the higher ups make it look horrible, but what the directors did, I'll say this: there's two things I feel like they could easily do that they didn't ruin. Harley Quinn can bring out the street. Right? Just like the street level people. Yeah. And I feel like Wonder Woman and Aquaman can bring in the mystical people in because we haven't seen a Green Lantern. So that's why I said they haven't ruined it yet, their universe. Yes, they are. They're scrambling to fix it. So.
All right. Funny you said that because speaking of franchises that are scrambling, I know people are like, hey, it's already been a year and a half. Why are you hating on The Last Jedi still? I'm gonna continue to hate that movie. It's not like the movie's not bad, like in the sense of graphics, the quality, the way he shot it. Like, yeah, all that stuff's good. But if you want to talk about like, okay, let's say the MCU did this, which they did. The MCU did do this for Iron Man 3. They shitted on the Mandarin.
Trash.
So some people think that that's gonna be the Shang-Chi's villain when the movie for Shang-Chi comes out.
Oh, the real.
Yeah. So. Okay, like, obviously how Episode 9 is coming out, and if it's revealed that Palpatine was Snoke the whole time...
You said you'll accept it.
I'll accept it. I'll accept that for Episode 8. Okay, now you go back and watch Episode 8. I've already seen things in Episode 8 that are like, yeah, that's kind of the Emperor.
Right.
Like, I told another one of my friends this, but if you watch Episode 8 again, and you watch the throne room scene, you can see... when Kylo's standing in front of Rey and Snoke's like, he's ready to strike his true enemy. I can never be defeated.
Right.
He's telling Rey like, I can never be defeated. Who would talk like that unless you knew Kylo was going to kill you?
True.
It makes Snoke hella stupid.
The timing was so cheese. It had to be right.
He's like, I can never be defeated. I can never be stopped. Kylo's going to turn the lightsaber and strike his true enemy. Like, he knew Kylo was going to kill him. Which in episode 9, if they say that, like, yeah, he wanted... So people think that, like, you have to be full dark side for Palpatine's spirit to possess you. That's why Snoke's mad that Kylo's still split.
Right. So this is the theory that you feel like only theory that could save this movie.
Yeah, because it's like, hey, that is. So people are like, hey, you guys are scrambling to fix the sequel saga. Or the trilogy, sorry.
Yeah, they were defending it at the beginning.
Yeah, because people are like, hey, this is just your guys' way of trying to save the sequel trilogy. Because so many people hated episode 8. Now you're like, oh, let's just throw Palpatine in there and the that makes sense though. If you're gonna end all 9 movies, who's the one true villain of all 9 movies?
It has to be. The Emperor was never really bested.
Yeah, he never was. And if you watch Rebels, they already kind of explained how he could return. Like, when you go into the world between worlds, like the blue mist comes out. Well, what happens when Emperor gets thrown down the shaft? The blue mist comes out.
Yeah, so man, they're scrambling, bro.
So I don't want to say, yeah, you're right. Because when we watch episode 9 and they do say that, it's like, okay, cool. I get it. Mm-hmm. You guys are gonna, I don't want to say shoehorn, but if you make it good, cool. I don't want to see like Ben Solo get redeemed and died, because we've already seen that with Anakin. He got redeemed and died.
Yeah, that'd be extra.
Yeah, and like,
that'd be extra. Then at this point, they're trying to make money off the characters, not the actual story itself. And saving faces, in my opinion, is never good unless you're looking at more movies. But it's the end of the trilogy.
They say it's the end, but Disney's not that dumb. And let's say the other movies don't do so good.
Yeah.
They can go back to Rey, Kylo, and Finn.
I would like a lot more Kylo. I feel like his character development was good in that trash ass series.
You said it was, yeah.
I still feel like it's gonna hate me. I don't care.
Like, hate me. You can say, hey me,
Hey me.
So with DC and Marvel, do you think that DC and Marvel could have an episode 8?
Honestly, man, I'm gonna tell you right now.
Could they survive that?
I feel like you can survive anything on the internet now, as long as you're unapologetic. Like, as soon as you start backtracking and say, like, yeah, it's my fault, then, yeah, it's your fault, bro. Like, completely. But
I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me, man, but I truly did not like episode 8. That's like taking... Okay, Captain America, for instance. You know what kind of person and you know what kind of character he is. Mm-hmm. That's like saying in Endgame, yeah, I'm going to turn away from my friends. I'm not going to help them.
I would hate it.
I'm going to go into hiding. That's not Cap.
It's not Cap. No, you're choosing what to do. Which is, I mean, that's been my problem with, like, love scenes in these our comic book movies, because there's not this many estranged love scenes. Our dudes don't need love like that, that's the main thing I loved about Cap. So, to take that away, I feel like that's what
they did with Luke.
Bro, and that's why I agree with you. I'm not a Star Wars fan, but even watching it at the end, like, how it feels like he contradicted himself the whole movie, he wasn't inspiring. He didn't feel like Liam Neeson or none of the other ones I've seen before. As far as, like, no. And that sucks. But to answer your question, I don't feel like the MCU will ever give us that. At this point where they read our blogs at least to see what a majority of people don't want.
Oh, they know.
No, they know.
Oh, they know.
Yeah, so besides, I mean, they might give us some cornball stuff, but nah.
You know how they have the MCU planned out, right?
Right.
They have it mapped out 5 movies in advance. They already know what threads are going to connect. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure I've read on plenty of platforms that with Star Wars, J.J. Abrams made an episode 7, and then Rian Johnson was able to make whatever movie he wanted. Literally, he didn't have to fully follow what J.J. Abrams was doing. He literally got to make his own movie. So, in episode 7, J.J. Abrams sets up Rey's parents.
Right.
He sets up this, he sets up that. Snoke, this, and then Rian Johnson in the next movie is like, you know what? Rey's a nobody. Snoke's dead. Luke's a bitch.
Your family is garbage.
Yeah, it's just like, what? Why did you do all that in 7? You set all this up in 7, and then now in 8, it's like, which he had the whole, like, I'm going to subvert your expectations. Oh, you subverted them all right because,
Yeah, the fans.
Like,
I'll say this. If they do it right with more movies than the next one, I think episode 8, like you said, could be saved, but they have to do more than one movie. You can't just do a Fix Me movie.
It sucks, man, because obviously the slate for the next movies are in 2022. Mm-hmm. It's going to be episode... They're not even calling it episode. People theorize... the guys who write and produce Game of Thrones?
Right.
They're going to be making these next movies. So in 2022, it's going to be their Star Wars movie.
Okay.
Then it's going to be Avatar 2. 24 is going to be the second of those Star Wars movies. Then it's going to be Avatar 3. The third of the Star Wars movies, Avatar 4, and then and then Avatar 5. Like Disney's going back and forth with Star Wars and Avatar for the 2020s.
I'm gonna be real. Y'all can quote me on this. I'm in disbelief that Avatar is gonna live up completely to the potential that the first one did. I'm gonna be completely honest right there. I feel like they had a good idea, but I feel like we'll see with this next movie. I feel like we'll definitely know, just like Star Wars. But
well, for the Star Wars movies that are coming out in 2020, I hope it's the Knights of the Old Republic series. I hope they do something new. So we already just spoke about how we don't think, DC and Marvel could afford an Episode 8.
Right.
Which not a lot of people hate those, but...
And like you said, but they're gearing it towards new fans. So with that being said, since me and you've been fans of this stuff for a while, I got to ask, are you... Out of those big two, like, are you really looking, like, what's I'd say the top 3 movies you're looking for out of the MCU new movies that are coming out? So that's anything from that we know is coming out. So it could be Far From Home, you know what I'm saying? It could be Aquaman 2.
I'm looking forward
they have
to
the
what
story locked. I don't know if you know. They have the story locked already for Aquaman 2. And then Wonder Woman, which is supposed to be later this year.
Before we end this off, we end this episode, I'm looking forward to what they do with X-Men and Fantastic Four for Marvel. For DC, I'm looking forward for what they do with since Ben Affleck's not Batman. I want to know what they're going to do with Batman going forward.
Okay.
And with Star Wars, just basically what they go doing in the forward. So, all right, guys, I want to say thanks for watching today. I want to thank my co-host today.
Hey, Rick,
you want to give a shout out to anybody?
Anytime to the people here. You know what I'm saying? Asked me to be here. Beautiful cameraman over here. You know what I'm saying? But I'm glad you just brought me in on this one, man.
No, I'm happy,
man. Special podcast, bro. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I'm very happy. I'm glad we could take what we do on a regular basis and make this an episode. So,
but before we end this, I still feel like you're a little bit of a DCU's just a little bit too much on the totem pole, man. You gotta take them down a little bit.
I agree, man. We'll have other episodes.
Taking their place, bro. It's over. DC's like Jay-Z and Marvel's Drake right now. They gotta wait. They gotta wait their turn, bro.
Hey, yo, Blue. Get the MCU out your mouth, Blue.
Stop it.
No, like I said, guys. Hey, yo, Blue. Your daddy's a billionaire, Blue. No. Anyways, hey, guys. I want everybody in the comments wish my brother good luck in California. I hope he has fun. Has a safe trip. Can't speak. Has a safe trip home.
Yeah, man.
We want him to come home safe. So until next time, guys. Wow.
See you again.
Show. We gon' pull up at your show. We gon' pull up at your show. We gon' pull up at your show. Yeah, look, 10s and 20s, I get that money, I'm on my grind. Stack it up, I add it up, fuck subtract, and we don't divide. Unless it's